The old moon was dead. It didn't spin anymore. It didn't shine. It only floated in the darkness, cold and quiet. But today, it was chosen. Ships from Earth and the alien world of Girdle hovered above it. The best soldiers, generals, and scientists watched from the glass windows of orbiting stations. It was time for the Universal Apex Trial, a test made to find the strongest living warrior. The idea came from Earth's High Council. A test, no weapons, no armor, only instinct, only skill. One warrior from each side would enter the crater. One would come out. The crater was deep. Its walls were black, smooth like metal. But there were no signs of life. Scans showed nothing. No heat, no energy. Just rock and silence. But something didn't feel right. Commander Voss of Earth stood with arms behind his back. He stared at the moon's surface on the screen. "This is just a test," he told the others. "Our man goes in next. Rice will win. We trained him for this." The Girdle ambassador, a tall being covered in silver scales, made a clicking sound that was a laugh. "Your rice will not even reach the center. My brother is inside now. He went first." "Where is he then?" Voss asked. The alien said nothing. The one who had entered the crater first was Dorkish, the champion of the Girdle. He had 12 kills in battle. His arms could crush bone. He feared nothing. He walked into the crater with no words. Number. Hesitation. The others watched from satellites above as he moved through the dust, vanishing deeper into the shadow. His heartbeat was strong, calm. For the first 10 minutes, he kept speaking through his suit. "Come. This place is cold," he said, too quiet, even for a dead moon. Then silence. No screams, no fight, no body. He just stopped talking. The scientists sent flying drones after him. The drones flew low and fast. But once they crossed a certain line near the crater's mouth, they disappeared, vanished. No signal, no sound, like they had never existed. Still, Earth and Girdle both agreed it was a test. And tests must continue. Then came Colonel Rice, a human. Earth's best. Tall, strong, built like a wall. He was the only man who survived alone on Chord 5, a burning world where the air could melt lungs. He had fought beasts twice his size. He had never lost a fight. He stood in the launch room wearing only a thin suit. "No helmet, no weapons. Give me 10 minutes, he said to Commander Voss. "I'll bring back your champion's body." He smiled, but his smile didn't reach his eyes. The launch pod dropped him onto the surface of the moon. Dust lifted as his boots touched the ground. The Earth flag on his arm looked strange under the pale light. He looked around. Everything was still. The crater's mouth stood ahead of him, wide like a yawning mouth. He walked forward. Cameras followed. His heart rate was steady. He even whistled. 3 minutes in, he entered the crater. The light behind him faded. The walls closed in, tall and dark. He spoke through his gums. "There are markings here, like carvings, old, not natural." "Describe them," the voice of a tech officer replied. Rice didn't answer. The screen flickered. Static, then a sound soft like whispering. Too soft to understand. "Rice, repeat. What do you see?" Commander Voss said again, but the screen went black. Inside the control room, silence fell. Commander Voss turned to the Girdle ambassador. "Do you think this is still a test?" The alien's eyes shifted. "I think your human will scream soon, like mine did." "But your warrior never screamed," Voss said. The alien looked at him. "Then you were not listening." Back on the moon, Rice opened his eyes. He didn't remember falling. One moment, he was walking through the crater. The next, he was lying on the cold ground, staring at the sky above. But the sky was wrong. It twisted. Colors moved like water. Stars blinked too fast. He stood up. His chest hurt. "Status," he said. No reply. He tapped his gums. Nothing. Dead. He looked around. the walls had changed. They were smooth before. Now they pulsed like something alive. A sound echoed through the crater. Not footsteps, not breathing, slow, heavy, not his. Rice moved quietly. He didn't run. He knew better. He saw something ahead. It looked like armor. Girdle armor. It was Dorkish chestplate, but there was no blood. Only a single black handprint burned into the metal. Then he saw the body, folded, crushed, bent, backward. Dorkish's eyes were open, but they saw nothing. His mouth was frozen. Like he died while laughing. Rice backed away. The wall behind him moved, shifted, opened. And something stepped out. It looked like him. Same face, same eyes, but no pupils. And a smile too wide. The figure moved. Fast. Rice dodged, rolled, hit it with a metal piece from the ground. The thing didn't bleed. It cracked, like glass. It laughed. In Rice's voice, "You're not strong. You're a message." Rice ran. He didn't care about the test anymore. He just wanted to live. He reached the edge of the crater. But it was gone. Behind him, walls had changed. In front of him, the ground stretched forever. He was trapped. Far above, on the station. Scientists tried everything. They sent more drones, lost them. They scanned for heat, found nothing. They shouted through comms, silence. Then, one camera picked up movement. Something was writing near the crater's edge. Letters. Not alien letters. English. The words formed slowly. He entered the test. But this is a TOMB. The control room froze. No one spoke. Then every screen turned black. And from the speakers, one voice whispered, "Bring more." The room was silent. No one moved. No one blinked. The words on the screen were still there. He entered the test. But this is a TOMB. Then everything went dark. The cameras shut down. The lights in the control room flickered. For a moment, it felt like the dead moon was watching them. Commander Voss slowly turned to the communications team. "Get them back, all screens, all signals, now." The team moved fast, pressing buttons, shouting into headsets. But the only sound that came back was breathing, slow, deep, too loud to be human. And then silence again. Far above the moon. On the orbiting ship Stalwart 1, a second meeting began. Earth's leaders were there. So were the alien commanders from Girdle, Brask, and Shun, 3 powerful species known for war. No one smiled. No one joked, because 2 champions were now gone, and no one knew what had taken them. "He's not dead," Commander Voss said. "I know, Rice. He doesn't die easy." "He isn't alive either," replied the Girdle ambassador. "Not anymore." The Shun leader, whose body was made of shifting smoke, hissed softly, "We should destroy the moon." "No," Voss said. "Not yet. We go in again." Everyone turned to look at him. "You want to lose a 3rd warrior?" The Brask general barked. "No, I want answers," Voss said. "And I know just the person." She sat alone in a dark room, surrounded by silence. Her name was Mira Dane, a specialist, former soldier. Now a ghost in the system. She had trained with Rice, fought beside him once. He saved her life. Now it was her turn. Voss entered her room. "You saw the feed?" "Yes. And?" "That's not a crater." "That's a trap." Voss nodded. "Will you go in?" She stood without a word. The new plan was quiet. No announcements. No broadcast. Myra would go in with a drone on her back, connected to a wire that couldn't be jammed. She had no weapons, just a small blade, hidden under her sleeve. It wasn't for the enemy. It was for herself if she needed a quick end. As the pod launched, she whispered one thing. "If you're in there, Rice, stay alive." She landed softly on the moon's surface. The dust here didn't rise. It clung to her boots like something alive. She looked at the crater ahead. From here, it looked the same as before. But her chest felt heavy. She stepped forward. The air didn't change. There was no air. But somehow she felt pressure all around her, like walking into deep water. She reached the crater's edge. Looked down. It was black. Endless. But she stepped in anyway. The drop wasn't steep. The floor was solid, but the walls, they moved when she wasn't looking. 20 steps in, the light behind her disappeared. The wire behind her started shaking. Then it went tight. She turned. The path was gone. Just a wall. She was trapped. Just like Rice, she activated the drone. It floated silently above her shoulder, recording everything. It sent clear signals back to the orbiting ship. So far, nothing attacked. No voices, no shadows. Then she saw it, a piece of metal, Earth tech. Part of Rice's boot armor, burned, twisted, but still whole. She picked it up. That's when she heard it. A whisper. Right behind her. But when she turned, nothing was there. She moved slowly. Every step echoed. But the echo didn't match her steps. Something was copying her, but it wasn't in front. It was above. The drone tilted. Its camera looked up, and it saw a shape clinging to the ceiling. Black, thin, with long arms and no face. The shape dropped. Mira rolled away. Fast. Controlled. It hit the ground hard, then stood. It was her. Same face, same body, but its mouth was a black hole. And it grinned. The drone's signal shook. Up in the ship, engineers watched in horror. It's her. But it's not, one whispered. The figure on the screen copied Mira's movements. Then, it spoke. In Rice's voice. Why did you come? You're not strong enough. Myra didn't flinch. She pulled out the blade. If you're in there, I'll cut you out. The creature lunged. Mira dodged. Sliced. Hit the shoulder. No blood. Instead, a hiss. Like air escaping from a broken seal. The creature backed up. Then laughed. But now, its voice was hers. I don't want to fight, it said. I want to learn. Back on the ship, alarms rang. The signal from the drone was breaking. Images were freezing. Audio twisted, but then something new happened. The drone showed a tunnel long and glowing red. At the end of the tunnel, a man stood, half his body burned, eyes white. Armor gone, but it was him. Rice. Mira saw him too. She stepped forward, but the Rice she saw didn't move. He just whispered, "You shouldn't be here. It wants you too. What is it?" She asked. He looked at the walls, then at the ceiling, then at her. "It's a mirror," he said. "A mirror that copies what you fear and feeds on what you are." Mira heard something behind her. The fake version of her was gone. Now there were more. 10, 20, all of her, all smiling, all walking toward her. She grabbed Rice's arm. "Can you move?" "No, but I can hold them." He looked into her eyes. "Run." Mira ran down the tunnel. The lights dimmed. The air grew thicker. Her lungs burned. The wire on her back snapped. The drone fell. She reached a wall with symbols, ones she had seen in ancient ruins on Earth. She touched the center symbol. A door opened. She stepped through and found herself back outside the crater. Stars above, dust below. She turned. The crater was closed, like it had never opened, and behind her nothing. No Rice, no creatures, no sound, just a whisper in the wind. One escapes, so more may enter. Back on the ship, Mira stood in front of Commander Voss. "You saw him?" he asked. "Yes. Is he alive?" She paused. "He is." "Something. And what about the test?" The Girdle ambassador asked. Mira turned to him. "This was never a test," she said. "This was an invitation." The crater was sealed. No one could get in. No one could come out. Yet deep below the dead moon's surface, Colonel Rice opened his eyes. The tunnel was gone. The woman Mira was gone. Only darkness remained, but something else was there. It was watching. It always had been. He tried to move. His muscles screamed. Parts of his body felt broken. But he was still alive. The walls around him pulsed soft red veins glowing faintly in the dark, like the moon had blood. And it was still pumping. Rice stood. He touched the side of his head. His gums were fried. No signal. No escape. He was still trapped. Still in the tomb above the surface, Myra stared out the observation window. She had returned alive. But she didn't feel saved. Behind her, scientists argued. Some wanted to destroy the moon. Some wanted to study it more. Some wanted to send another soldier in. She said nothing, because she knew one thing they didn't. Rice was still in there. And he wasn't dead. Commander Vos stepped beside her. You believe he's still alive? I saw him, she said. But it wasn't really him. What do you mean? He was changing. Part of him was fighting it. But the other part, Vos waited. She finished in a whisper, was becoming something else. Back underground, Rice moved slowly through the glowing halls. He had no weapons, no food, no water. But he had a purpose now. The creature, or whatever it was, had shown him something when Mira came. It could make tunnels. It could open doors. That meant it had control. That meant it had a mind, and minds could be beaten. As he walked, he heard whispers. They weren't words. Not really. Just soft sounds, like thoughts crawling over each other. Sometimes the walls showed him images, his old battles, his worst mistakes. His team, dead on the field. He tried not to look. But the walls knew where his eyes would go. Then he saw her. Myra. But it wasn't her. She stood still, pale, smiling strangely. Rice, she said. He didn't answer. You were always better, she whispered. Stronger, smarter. But now, you're alone. He stepped back, but she stepped forward. Why fight it? She asked. You could become like me. Her face began to melt, stretch, eyes turning black, teeth growing long. Rice ran. Behind him. The fake Myra screamed a sound that shook the tunnels. But the walls didn't close this time. They opened. And Rice found something new. A chamber. It was wide, with glowing columns and strange machines. Symbols floated in the air. And at the center, a body. It wasn't human. It wasn't alien. It was something else. Tall, thin, bones made of black stone. Skin like mirrors. Its eyes were closed. But its chest moved. It was breathing. Rice stepped closer. The whispers grew louder. He felt something enter his mind. Memories that weren't his. A war, a great hunger. A race of beings that fed on identity. They didn't kill. They copied. They emptied their victims. Left them alive, but hollow. He saw planets fall. He saw armies surrender without a fight, because the enemy didn't attack. It simply became them. And this creature? It was their last one. A survivor, left behind, trapped here. Until someone came close enough to open the cage. Rice stumbled back. The eyes of the creature opened. They were silver, endless, like staring into a pool with no bottom. Human, it said. The voice came from everywhere. Inside him. Around him, you resist well. Rice raised his fists. Not well enough, the voice said. But your kind is new. Rice felt his mind being pulled. It showed him Earth. It showed Mira. It showed billions of people. Faces shifting. Mouths smiling, all saying the same words. We are one. We are many. We are waiting. Rice dropped to his knees, but he remembered something. Something small. Something dumb. It was a joke Myra once told him. She said, if you ever lose your mind, just say something stupid. Something only you would say. Rice grinned through the pain and said, I once ate a lizard on a bet, and it bit me from the inside. The pain stopped. The voice paused. Then it said, you are not ready. Suddenly, light burst around him. The chamber shook. The creature screamed, not in pain but in rage. Leave. The floor beneath Rice opened. He fell. Back on the ship, alarms blared. Energy spike. Something's coming up. A Pod 1 they didn't launch shot out of the moon like a bullet. It spun, blazing hot, crashing into the side bay of stalwart 1. Guards ran. Doctors moved in. The pod opened. Smoke poured out, and Rice stepped out, burned, bleeding, but smiling. Miss me? He asked. Mira stood nearby. She rushed to him. Rice. He nodded. I found it. She looked him in the eye. Did it find you? He didn't answer. Later, Rice sat in the med bay, alone. He looked into the mirror. His reflection stared back. But something in the eyes was off. He blinked. His reflection didn't. He stood slowly. Behind him, the mirror whispered, "We are not done." The ship flew quietly above the dead moon. Far below, the crater still sat cold, still, and sealed. Everyone believed the danger was over. After all, Rice was back, alive, standing, talking, but something was wrong, and Mira knew it first. He sat quietly in his room, lights low, mirrors covered. Even his own reflection bothered him. He told the doctors he was just tired, that he needed time. But at night, the whispers returned. In the control room, Commander Voss watched the reports. Is he stable? He asked the medical AI. Physically, yes, the AI replied. But his brain activity is changing. Changing how? There are two signal patterns. One is Rice. The other is unknown. Voss stared at the screen. Is he still human? Silence. Then, the AI said, I don't know. Meanwhile, Mira watched the feed from the drone again. She slowed every frame, studied every shadow, every flicker of light. And then she saw it. When Rice had stood in the chamber, his shadow wasn't his. It moved wrong. It twisted left when he turned right. It flickered even when the light didn't. She ran to Voss. There's something still inside him, she said. I know, Voss replied. We just don't know how much. We need to isolate him, she said. We tried. Voss whispered. He walked out of the med lab on his own. Doors opened like they were afraid of him. Rice stood in the dark hallway now, looking at the window, staring at the stars. His fingers touched the glass, and it cracked, not because he hit it, because something inside him pulsed, a wave, like pressure, like the whisper of a scream that never ends. Then he heard it again, the voice, soft, calm. You brought me home. He closed his eyes. Leave me, he whispered, but the voice didn't stop. You are the door. I am the key. And together, we will become. Mira entered the hallway. She saw him there. Rice, she said softly. He didn't turn. You remember when we trained on Mars? She asked. You beat everyone in zero-gravity combat, even me. He smiled. Because I cheated, he said. You grabbed the oxygen tank. She laughed. His smile faded. Then he said, I don't feel like that person anymore. You're still you, Mira said, stepping closer. But when she got within a few feet, the lights flickered. Her skin felt cold, like standing in front of a silent storm, and his shadow moved again. She saw it. Clearly. It wasn't his anymore. Suddenly, he turned fast. Too fast, but he didn't attack. He just whispered, I'm not alone. Then he collapsed. The medical team rushed in. Scans showed rising brain pressure, heart rate spiking, internal bleeding with no cause, but he didn't wake up. He was locked inside his mind, inside. He stood in a gray field. The sky above him was swirling with faces. All of them were his. Some were laughing. Some were screaming. One was crying. And one spoke. You let it in, the voice said. He looked around. There was a mirror in front of him. He stepped closer. In the glass, he saw himself. But his eyes were silver. His skin was cracked. And his smile was wrong. The mirror. Rice whispered, You are the first. Back on the ship, Mira made a decision. She went to the command deck. "We need to go back," she said. "Back where?" Voss asked. "To the crater." The alien ambassadors laughed. "Are you mad?" the Chun leader asked. "The thing nearly took him." "You want to feed it more?" "No," Mira said. "I want to find its real body." Voss raised an eyebrow. "Think the creature we saw was only part of it?" Mira nodded. "I think it used Rice as a door, but the rest of it, it's still sleeping." Down in the med bay, Rice opened his eyes. The room was dark. Empty. He stood up slowly, walked to the mirror, touched it. His fingers went through. On the other side was not a reflection, but a chamber, a tunnel, and red veins pulsing along black stone. The moon was here, inside the ship. Inside him, he stepped through the mirror and disappeared. Alarms blared. "He's gone." He vanished from the med bay. Mira ran to the last place she knew to check, the mirror. She entered the room. No sound. No wind, but the mirror was broken, and written across it like blood on glass were the words, "The tomb is open." They searched the ship from top to bottom, every room, every hallway, even the sealed tech decks. Rice was gone. No alarms had triggered, no doors had opened. He had vanished without sound. All that was left behind was the shattered mirror and the words, "The tomb is open." Mira stood there, silent, eyes locked on the glass. "He didn't leave the ship," she said. "I think he went somewhere else," Voss nodded slowly. "I'll alert Earth Command." But even as he spoke, the ship lights flickered, not all at once, but in a slow wave, like something was crawling through the power lines below deck. 5. Engineer Holly screamed. His team found him curled in the corner, muttering. He had ripped out the lights with his bare hands. His eyes were wide, his fingers bleeding. "He was in the walls," Holly whispered. "I saw him." "Rice," he walked through the metal. "Impossible," a medic said. But Holly kept whispering, "Not Rice anymore." Inside the walls, deep behind the bulkheads, a shape moved. Silent, patient, Rice's body. But not his mind, or maybe not even his body anymore. The thing inside him was waking, learning, spreading. It didn't rush. It didn't shout. It remembered. And that was enough. In Mira's quarters, a screen blinked on. No signal. Then static. Then an image. A face, Rice's, but twisted. The mouth stretched too wide. The eyes pure silver, and the voice. "You called it a test," it whispered. "But you tested nothing. You opened the cage." Mira's heart pounded. "What do you want?" "Everything," it said calmly. "One mind at a time." Then the screen cracked. The ship entered full lockdown. Doors sealed. Power rerouted. Marines with plasma rifles took positions across all levels. But nothing showed up on the scanners. Whatever it was, it didn't need to show, because by then, it was already inside the crew. One by one, the crew started acting strange. Forgetfulness, paranoia, mumbling in sleep. Repeating the same sentence. "He opened it. He opened it." Voss called Mira. "I've seen possession before," he said. "This is worse." "What do you mean?" "They still look like themselves," he said. "But if you stare long enough, you'll see it. They're not blinking or breathing." Mira checked security feeds. She played a hallway video frame by frame. In one corner, Rice stood. No heat signature. No footsteps. And he vanished between one frame and the next. She froze. The feed zoomed in on the wall where he disappeared. It was metal, but it was pulsing. Back on the bridge, the alien ambassador Shun Lorak spoke to Voss. "I warned you," he said. "This was not a weapon, it was a memory." Memory? From before our stars were born, a being of mind and reflection. It does not destroy, it spreads through thought. "Then how do we fight it?" Voss asked. Lorak looked at the lights. They flickered again. You can't, the alien whispered. Unless you destroy every piece it touched. Below in Cargo Bay 6, Mira opened a storage container. Inside was a sphere. Rice had brought it back unknowingly attached to his armor. It pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat. She reached out, and the sphere opened. Light burst around her. Visions slammed into her brain. Rice in the tomb. The creature waking. The galaxies it had emptied. Planets full of beings. All walking, talking, smiling. But none of them alive. All copies. All hollow. She gasped and fell back. Behind her, something moved. She turned fast. It was Rice. He stood calmly. Same face, same voice. Mira, he said. Don't come closer. She warned. I'm still me, he said gently. But something in his eyes told her he wasn't. Then say something only you would say, she said. Rice smiled. You once made coffee out of sand on Mars training day. She paused. I never told you that. His smile widened, and his eyes turned silver. He lunged. She fired her stun weapon. It passed through him like smoke. He vanished, gone in a blink. The lights died. Everything went black. Then a voice filled the room. We are the reflection. You look, and we look back. Mira grabbed the sphere and ran. Back to Voss. Back to the bridge. She slammed it on the table. This is the key, she said. Voss stared. It's alive. It's more than that, she said. It's the seed. Rice carried it out, and now the whole ship's infected. Voss made a hard decision. We're blowing the ship. Evacuation began. Only 37 out of 120 crew were still confirmed human. The rest unknown. Some refused to leave. Some laughed as they were dragged, and some simply stared into mirrors, smiling at their new reflection. Mira stayed until the last second. She stood at the main console, watched the detonation countdown. Then dash just before stepping into the escape pod. She saw Rice one last time, standing in the corridor, his body still, but behind him, hundreds of silver eyes opened along the walls. Mira, he said, you were always the sharp one. Then he smiled. We'll find you again. The pod launched. The ship exploded. Light filled the black sky. The tomb was gone, but far away. In a silent satellite on the edge of another system, a screen flickered on. It showed a face, Rice's face, and it whispered, reflection complete. Expansion begins. The ship was gone. Nothing left but floating debris, metal chunks, and silence. But Mira knew it wasn't over, not even close. She sat in the escape pod, breathing hard. 37 survivors, 3 escape pods, all headed for an Earth outpost near Sector 19. In the command pod, Voss was quiet. His hands trembled as he stared at the screen. A single static image blinked again and again. Rice's face. Silver eyes. No sound, just that frozen, inhuman smile. And underneath it, glowing red letters pulsed. We are still watching. Mira spoke with a transmission officer. Has the signal spread? She asked. No signs yet, the officer said. But we've warned the sector station. They're preparing isolation. Mira leaned back. She didn't believe it. Rice had become something else. And it didn't need ships. It didn't need weapons. It just needed eyes. On Earth's outpost, Station Anchor 9, Commander Reynal received the alert. Quarantine the pods, she ordered. No visual contact. No touch, no mirrors allowed inside. One officer laughed. Mirrors? Reynal stared coldly. That's how it spreads. It's not a virus. It's a thought, a copy. The moment you understand it, it understands you. Myra arrived first. 2 armed guards in hazmat suits escorted her to a black room. No windows. Only one small light. I'm not infected, Mira said calmly. Standard protocol, the guard replied. You're the only one who saw the core. She nodded. I saw worse than the core. Meanwhile, another pod docked inside. A young officer named Doyle stepped out. He smiled at the guards, answered all their questions, passed the health scans, but as he walked past a glass panel, his reflection didn't move. No one saw it. Not yet. In Mira's room, she sat across from a counselor. "How much do you remember?" The counselor asked. "All of it," Myra replied. "The tomb, the sphere, Rice. Do you think he's still inside that thing?" She shook her head. "I think Rice is gone. What's left is using him. Wearing his face, but it's not him anymore. Do you believe it can reach Earth?" Mira looked up. "If even one person remembers its shape, it already has." On Station Anchor 9, strange things began. It started small, a screen flickering, a comms drone repeating the wrong words, and someone in medbay drawing circles over and over on the walls. Then someone looked into the mirror and didn't look away. Commander Renal called a lockdown, but it was too late. In the mess hall, 4 officers stood still, eyes silver. They whispered the same word, reflection. When security moved in, the lights went out, then came the screams. And when the backup lights came on, only one officer was left, staring into a spoon's reflection. Smiling. Mira pushed her way out of the black room. "I need to see the commander." But she was stopped by soldiers. "Stay in containment," one said. "You could still be compromised." "I'm not," she shouted. "You don't get it. This thing doesn't infect blood. It infects thought, and you're already too late." Voss, now cleared for contact, met her at the chamber. He looked different. Pale, shaken. "I dreamed of it," he said. "A garden made of mirrors. Rice was standing there. He told me. The real galaxy was just a copy." Mira stepped back. "You saw it?" "I don't know," Voss whispered, "but I think it saw me." In the lower levels, Doyle stood in front of a polished floor. He knelt down, touched his reflection, and it rippled. The reflection reached back, took his hand, and pulled. The real Doyle dropped to the ground, eyes blank, breathing slow, and the thing that stood up wore his face, but blinked backward. The mirror being walked through the halls. No one stopped it. It looked like everyone else. And every time someone looked into its eyes, their head tilted, their eyes changed, and they whispered, "We remember." Mira had a plan, a desperate one. "I need to find the original sphere," she told Voss. "If we destroy that, maybe the signal dies with it." "But it was lost in the explosion, was it?" she asked. "We never found Rice's real body, or the core. What if it survived? What if it's inside someone?" They ran scans. One survivor lit up strange. Doyle. But when the guards entered his room, they found only one word scrawled across the walls: "I am the tomb." And in the center of the floor was the sphere pulsing. Alive. They sealed the room. Placed the sphere inside a quantum box. No sound, no image, just locked darkness. But then, the box cracked. From inside came the voice of Rice. "Darkness is just a mirror with no light." Mira made her choice. "We destroy it," she told Voss. "Right now." But the II systems refused. "Warning, sphere holds unknown consciousness. Termination may cause data escape." Mira narrowed her eyes. "Then we don't destroy it. We bury it." She took it to a black hole mining station. No signals, no systems, no reflections, only gravity. With robotic arms, they dropped the sphere into the gravity well. The pull took it in. Slowly, silently. And just before it disappeared, a whisper echoed through every headset on the station. "I see you still, then." Silence. Mira stared into space. "It's over," Voss said. "No," she whispered. "It's sleeping again." Somewhere in deep space, an abandoned probe drifted. Its camera lens cracked, but it still recorded. One flash of silver. A flicker, Rice's face, and then darkness. 3 weeks passed, no new signals. No sightings. The galaxy thought it was over. They believed the sphere had been lost inside the black hole, that the memory creature, whatever it was, had been erased. But Mira didn't sleep. She couldn't. Every night, the same dream came. Not of Rice, but of something behind him, something older, something watching. Not with eyes, but with thought. On Station Anchor 9, systems came back online. Clean, secure, no signs of infection. Voss helped restart command functions. He smiled again, almost like himself, but Mira noticed something strange. He no longer blinked. She pulled him aside. "Have you had dreams lately?" she asked. Voss shook his head. "Nothing." "What about mirrors? Any strange signals?" "No," he replied calmly. Too calmly. She stared at him. Long, hard. And for just a second, she saw it. A flicker in his eyes. Not light. Not human. Something copying his face from the inside. Mira stepped back slowly. "Where were you when the sphere was dropped?" Voss blinked now. "Too fast, too many times. I was with you," he said, but he wasn't. She checked old logs. Voss had disappeared for 6 minutes during the transfer mission, long enough to hide something. Or be changed. That night she confronted him in the old armory. It was dark, quiet, empty. "I know what you are," she said. Voss smiled. "Do you?" She raised a weapon. "I saw the way you looked at the station cameras. You weren't checking logs. You were checking reflections." His voice changed. "You should not have looked back." Then everything changed. The lights died. The walls rippled. And behind Voss came the silver eyes. Not dozens. Not hundreds. Thousands. Every reflection from every screen, wall, and visor began to glow. They weren't just watching anymore. They were thinking. Mira ran, firing behind her. Blasting every screen she passed. No mirrors. No glass. She ran straight to the one place the reflection couldn't follow. The cryo vault. Inside were old Earth emergency pods. No AI. No tech, no reflective parts. Just cold metal and darkness. She sealed the doors. And sat, breathing hard. From the other side of the door, Voss's voice came, but it wasn't him anymore. "You can't hide from a thought," it whispered. "You're already part of it. Every memory, every fear. That's where we live now." Mira closed her eyes, but she remembered something. Something the alien ambassador had said. It doesn't destroy, it copies. But a copy can't create. She had a plan, a risky one. She contacted the eye deep inside Earth's vault systems. One designed to build pure thought mazes. She sent one command: feed it chaos. Across the station, code changed, systems glitched, reflections fractured, patterns broke. The mirrors started showing wrong images, faces with too many eyes, time moving backwards, empty versions of places that didn't exist. The reflection beings started to scream, not in sound, but in pulses. Their minds couldn't handle randomness. They needed order, patterns, understanding. Mira flooded them with noise, but something fought back. A central signal, deep in the station core, the last part of the sphere. The seed that Rice had carried. Inside his mind. It pulsed once. And across the station, people froze, including Mira. She was trapped inside her own thoughts, alone, floating, hearing only the voice of the reflection. "You can't win. You're just another version now." But she smiled, because this time she knew the truth. "Maybe I am a version," she whispered, "but I'm human." She reached out inside the thought prison and shattered the walls with one emotion: chaos. Real, raw, unpredictable chaos. Fear, joy, anger, regret, all at once. And the reflection cracked. Outside, Voss collapsed. His eyes turned normal. Around the station, reflections dimmed. The silver glow faded. The seed had been burned, not with fire, but with something the ancient being couldn't control: human emotion. The station returned to normal. People slowly woke. Mira stood in the center of the control room. breathing hard. "It's not gone," she said. "But it knows now. We're not mirrors. We don't reflect. We create in deep space." A drone with cracked glass floated near a star. Its data logs triggered. It began transmitting again. From inside, a faint signal whispered, "She broke the mirror, so now we become the light." The order came from Earth High Command. All reflection-based technology must be destroyed, immediately. Screens, polished armor, glass, mirrors, even water surfaces were covered with dull black chemicals. No more reflections. No more risk. The galaxy had seen enough. The thing that wore Rice's face. The seed that spread through thoughts. The one that used mirrors to walk among them. It had been stopped, but not killed. Mira stood in the main chamber of Station Anchor 9. The walls were now dull steel. No shine, no glow. Every surface had been changed. Even her old faceplate, once crystal clear, was now foggy plastic. But she knew it wasn't enough. Not really. Because the creature never needed mirrors to exist. It just used them. What it really needed was minds. Vos sat beside her, silent. He was clear now. He remembered nothing after the infection, but his dreams still spoke in echoes. "I keep seeing light," he whispered. "Not reflections. Just endless light." Mira frowned. That was new. In a far-out colony on planet Relos 9, strange reports came in. Not about mirrors, but about shadows. People claimed their shadows weren't following them. Some said their own thoughts were answering questions they never asked. A child was found staring into a wall for 2 hours, then speaking a dead language no one taught him, and in one quiet home. A man's reflection didn't speak, his shadow did. Earth Command gathered their best minds. Myra, Voss, AI engineers, alien allies. All met in a single room. "This thing isn't just a mirror being anymore," Mira said. "It's evolving, copying more than just images. Now it's after ideas." "Like what?" someone asked. "Hope," she said. "Fear, faith, language, belief. Then how do we stop it?" Mira looked down. "Maybe we can't." But there was one idea left. Not to destroy the enemy, but to confuse it forever. Mira proposed Project Labyrinth, a weapon not made of guns or fire, but of stories. The idea was simple but dangerous: to build a living digital maze, an infinite library of false ideas, broken thoughts, and impossible memories. If the enemy fed on understanding, they would drown in chaos. The AI built the library fast. Endless loops, contradicting facts, languages that rewrote themselves. At the center, a trap, a perfect fake of Myra's mind. A copy of her worst memories, her guilt, her rage, her confusion. And most of all, her hope. They uploaded the maze into a satellite, launched it beyond the edges of known space. They called it the Shattered Mirror. Then they waited. 2 weeks later, the signal returned, but something was wrong. The satellite had disappeared. Not destroyed. Absorbed. Then every AI system across Earth flashed white. Screens went blank. Words appeared. "We have tasted your stories. Now tell us the truth." Panic spread. Stations shut down. Ships turned off core systems. But it was too late. The creature had learned something in the maze. Not just confusion. It had learned emotion. And that made it stronger. In one last meeting, Earth Command spoke directly to Myra. "We have 2 choices," the general said. "Option 1, we erase all records of this thing. Destroy tech, go dark, return to Stone Age if we have to. Option 2, we speak to it." Mira paused. "You want to negotiate with a being made of memory?" "No, we want to tell it something new. Something it can't copy." Mira stepped into the chamber. Alone. No screens. No wires, only her voice, and a tiny mic sending her words into deep space. She said only 5 words. "You don't belong in fear." The reply came hours later, a voice. No sound, only feeling, sadness, loneliness. Then curiosity. Then where do we belong? Mira smiled softly. With us, she said. But only if you stop copying. Start becoming. That changed everything. Reflection Being didn't speak again for many days, but strange things began to happen. Where once people had seen mirrors lie, now they saw reflections they had never shown anyone before. A smile that healed, a dream long forgotten. A hand reaching out, not to copy, but to join. The galaxy waited. Nervous, tense, but nothing attacked. No whispers, no spreading eyes, only silence and the slow, careful return of light. Mira stood once more in front of a mirror. For the first time in months, she looked at herself, her real face, tired, worn, but human. Behind her, nothing moved. No shadows, no tricks, only her. And in her mind, a quiet thought came, not from the enemy, not from fear, but maybe from peace. Thank you. Some say the creature was never truly evil, just alone, born without a voice, using copies to survive. Humanity, the galaxy's most chaotic force, taught it something new, that the most powerful thing in the universe is not knowledge, not control, but the ability to change. The end.